Hello, welcome to another video. Today I am bringing you a very special July TBR. If you are not familiar with the Book Junkie trials, then I suggest you get yourself familiar with that before we go into my TBR. The Book Junkie trials is a insane readathon created by Rachel at Rachel Marie Book Junkie. I will leave her channel linked down below. I will leave the announcement video linked down below, and I will leave the Twitter page linked down below as well. Essentially, the Book Junkie trials is a readathon that Rachel has created. There is a personality quiz and you get separated into 4 different teams. And then there is a map of the queendom. Rachel is the leading lady, the queen of this land, and each 4 teams go on the queen's quest to find the Bookie Grail. And I am joining in on this quest. I'm a mage, of course. Why would I not be? Magic is my thing. And I didn't even just pick mage, I did the quiz and I'm a mage. The mage team is led by the Marquess of Mage. It is Becca from Becca and the Books, and she is very fortunate to have the winning team. We are gonna absolutely destroy because we are Magi. So I am ridiculously excited for this. However, may have fallen at a bad time for me because I am moving house pretty much as soon as this readathon starts. Because I am a mage, so each team gets a power and a weakness, and the mage's power is to start the readathon 3 days early, which would be the 28th of June, which is literally the completion date for me getting a house. So really terrible timing, but I'm magic, so, you know, I'm pretty sure I can like wrangle time just a little bit and make this work for myself, because would I be a mage if I couldn't do something as simple as mess with time? Probably not. So we will ignore that. But yes, I am going to be following the map on the Magi path, and I have a lot of books to get through. So the essentials for this readathon are to follow your set team's path. However, you can complete the whole map if you like. I am going to prioritise doing the Mage's path to the Bookie Grail because my team need to win, but I am also going to be setting my TBR for the entire map because I'm overambitious. I don't for a second think I can actually do it, but I'm going to set a full TBR and see what happens. There are 5 prompts to get from the start of the Mage's path to the end, and you must complete those 5 prompts in order. So let's start with those 5. So, prompt number 1 for a mage such as I is Orc Grove. Some say there is no talking to orcs, but a good political relationship is needed. Learn some orc customs by reading a book that is gruesome, gory, or gritty. Now would be a good chance to say that the mage's weakness is that we must read a book that is out of our comfort zone. That prompt then being the first one immediately throws me out of my comfort zone because horror, gore, grit, anything like that is an absolute no-go for me. So immediately knocking off that weakness, gonna get it done ASAP. And for that, I'm going to read Dread Nation. Dread Nation is also the Quarterly Club's book pick for the live stream on the 6th of July. I am no longer sure if I'm gonna be able to make it to that live show myself because moving house, but we'll see, we're going to try, and I am definitely going to read the book because I'm going to read it as my first book for this, which I can start on the 28th of June. I don't own this book physically, but I do have it as an ebook. It was like $1.99 on Kindle, so I just downloaded it. But yeah, Dread Nation is kind of a zombie horror book. I don't know too much about it at all because it's so like out of my zone, but with it being the quarterly pick, I need to read it, and with this readathon meaning I need to read a book that's out of my comfort zone and a bit gory and gritty, a zombie horror book fits that pretty nicely. So I'll read it, we'll see what I think of it. I don't think I'm gonna like it, but we'll find out. Following on from that, we then go down to Old Pirate Cove. Shiver me timbers, you shall be walking the plank if you don't learn how to sail better. Read a book that takes place, at least in part, on sea. For this prompt, I shall be reading The Wicked King by Holly Black. I have been told that this has a lot of sea in it, and some of it does indeed take place on and in the sea. The cover would suggest that, with all of this water as well. Of course, this is the sequel to The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. which I read last year. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it, and I definitely liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. So that's a bonus. But yeah, I've been meaning to get to this, and as Queen of Nothing now is coming out this year, it's been a while since I read the first one. It seems like a good time to try and get this in. And yeah, knocks off that watery prompt for me. From old Pirate Cove, we go down to Glimmer. This isle is alight with gems and crystals, one of the most picturesque spots in the High Queendom. Make sure you fit in with a beautiful or colourful book. You want a colourful book? I cannot do colourful books without going for something from the Spellslinger series, because that series is the most beautiful and colourful series ever. They look incredible. And this is the latest. This is Queenslayer. This is book 5 in the Spellslinger series by Sebastien de Castell. If you've seen any of my latest videos, you will know that Sebastien de Castell is one of my favourite authors ever, and I'm really eager to get to this. I love the Spellslinger series. Follows a boy called Kellen who's about to do his Mage's trials on his 16th birthday, and his magic's gone. And the back of the first one says like magic is a con game, and it's all about like trickery and being in this world full of magic with no magic and how to like con your way into that. As a mage myself, like I don't condone this behaviour, but it's entertaining to read about, and I'm just fortunate, I suppose, that as a mage I still have my magic and I'm not in Kellen's shoes. But he learns to survive pretty well, and I'm eager to know what antics he gets up to in this one. I'm really, really excited to read this. It's been like one of my most highly anticipated releases, well, since Soulbinder, which was book 4, so yeah, I'm looking forward to this a lot. From Glimmer, we then go down to the Draconic Isle. Oh my, this island is swarming with wyverns and dragons. Brush up on your draconic knowledge with a book that features dragons. For that, I have another beautiful book, and that is Witch Sign by Den Patrick. This has dragons in the blurb mentioned. It's been 75 years since the dragon's rule of fire and magic was ended. Out of the ashes, the Soulminder Empire was born. I don't know too much more about it. I don't want to know too much more about it, but a rule of dragons has come to an end. So there's clearly dragons in this world, or there has been, or something. Dragons have clearly played a big role in this, so definitely fits, and I'm just eager to get this. Gavin purchased Stormtide for me, which is the sequel to this that was recently released, and that's just pushed me into wanting to read this one even sooner. So needing to read a book that features dragons, and this being, you know, a world with dragons, fits perfectly. And again, I'm really excited to get to this one. That then takes us to the Booky Grail, prompt number 5, and that is, here you find a lost manuscript delivered on this forgotten island by a fallen star. Read the group book Stardust. However, I read Stardust not all that long ago, and I didn't really feel like rereading it. And Rachel, the Queen, Her Royal Highness, has permitted that if we have already read the book, we can swap Stardust out for a book that contains an adventure to find something lost. In that spirit, I am going to read Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel. This features a group of people trying to find these robot parts that have been scattered across the earth. The first book follows a girl who got a bike for her birthday, goes out into the forest and falls into a hole with a giant metal hand and a load of glowing symbols, and that kind of sparks and follows on to a research team, I suppose, trying to find the rest of this robot creature, and this is the second book in the sequel, and I think they find more robots in this one, so I'm really excited to read this. Sleeping Giants, the first one I read in like 24 hours, so I'm super excited to get to this. I think it's going to be great to read in a readathon as well, because I read the first one in like no time at all, so I'm really eager to get to this. The first one was a 5-star, absolutely freaking loved it, so yeah, I'm just really eager to get to this. It's told in like interview format, and the interviewer is a completely sketchy guy, like you don't know who he is or what his motives are, and I think that's a really interesting dynamic to have, and like I want to know more about him. So yeah, really intrigued, can't wait to get to this. That would then complete my path to the Booky Grail. I could then capture the Grail for my team. However, I want to explore the rest of the High Queendom. Like, so much thought has gone into this place, and I want to explore all that our Royal Majesty has to offer. So I've set a TBR for the rest of this readathon. Whether I get to them or not is a different thing. We will tackle it as it comes, because I'm going to have a hectic month. but I'm going to at least try. So the first place I fancy going is the Crimson Peaks. These peaks are about to blow. Reread a favourite to soothe them into dormancy. For that, I am going to read Roar by Cora Carmack. This is Cora Carmack's first delve into YA fantasy. I'm pretty sure she's more of a new adult author, but the sequel to this is coming out in August, I want to say, and I want to reread this before that sequel comes out, so I'm going to do that. I absolutely love this. I've been waiting for Rage for ages. It got pushed back a year and I've just been like, gimme, little grabby hands, I want it. And it's very nearly here, but I do need to reread this before I dive into that when that's here, so this is the perfect opportunity. Roar follows the princess Aurora, who is the heir to this kingdom where storm magic is the magic that exists. Like, the people with these magic abilities capture the heart of these storms and then they have the storm's magic. Aurora, being the heir to the kingdom, should be the protector and have all of this magic. However, she doesn't, and she needs it. So it's her story of how she copes and gets what she needs, and I am looking forward to revisiting this. It's been a fair while since I read it, so I'm looking forward to diving back in preparation for Rage. Next, I think I'm gonna visit the Queendom Stone, and the prompt for that is The Stone of Our Royal Majesty. What are the royal customs of other lands? Read a book featuring royalty. And for this, I am gonna read The Steel Prince by Victoria Schwab. It's about time I got a graphic novel into this TBR, isn't it? Because it's a big ass readathon and I need as much help as I can get. So The Steel Prince is like a prequel to the Dark Shade of Magic series, following Prince Maxim, the Steel Prince, back when he was the Steel Prince. Don't know too much about it other than that. Would like to keep it that way. Very excited to get to this. It's Schwab. Schwab can do no wrong by me. I can't wait to read this. Then I'm gonna try and get to The Forgotten Forests. All those open series, the forest knows and feels your forgetfulness. It will sing a mournful lament, tormenting you until you read the next in a series. And for that, I'm gonna try and wrap up the trilogy with Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. This is the third book in the Sleeping Giants Themis Files trilogy. I've obviously just spoken about the second one. This is the third one. I don't know what happens in this one, and I wouldn't want to know because I haven't read the second one yet, so I can't tell you much about it, but I'm excited to get to it because the first one was so freaking good and I'm gonna read the second one in July, so if I can get to the third one as well, that would be fantastic. Following that, I'm going to try and get to The Weeping Falls, and the prompt for this is, to pass through the rapids unscathed, you must give to the falls. Read a tearjerker. I don't normally cry at books. It takes a lot to make me cry. Some of the sad books that people suggested I have read and not cried at, so Our Marquess of Magi did suggest reading Orange, and I thought about it, but I don't own it and can't afford to buy it. So instead, I'm going to go with another book that I'm really looking forward to reading, and that is Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. That really messes with the white balance, sorry. I love Victoria Schwab. She can do no wrong by me, as I've literally just explained. This is the sequel to This Savage Song, which I adored when I read that, and I really need to get to the sequel. I've been saying for a while that I want to read this, but I need to reread This Savage Song first, so I've decided to make June the month that I reread This Savage Song, so that I can read Our Dark Duet. I'm really excited by it. Absolutely cannot wait to dive in. This follows a world where, or a city that is split into between the Harkers and the Flynns, and there is a seam in the middle that's like full of monsters in this world. Violence breeds monsters and crime breeds monsters, and depending on the severity of the crime or violent act that is committed, a different sort of monster is born of it. And yeah, that's what happens in the world. I don't know what happens in this second book. I would tell you what happened in the first one, but that would be spoilers. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to diving into Our Dark Duet. It's been on my overall TBR for a really long time, and I just love Schwab, and am super eager to get to this. Following on from that, we go to Dwarf Mountain. You spot a fair tavern wench, however the dwarf mines, grimy and dusty, don't evoke a very romantic feeling. Read a book with a hint of romance to get you in the mood. Now, romance is really not typically my thing, but a hint of romance helps me out because I'm gonna need to read Ruin and Rising in July because me and Becca are buddy reading one book in the Grishaverse each month, and July will be the month of Ruin and Rising. There is, of course, some romance in this series, just a hint to, I think, get me through the Dwarf Mines, so I'm gonna read this one. This is the third book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which follows Alina, who finds out she has some powers that she didn't know she had and ends up being kind of whisked away into the Grisha world, and adventure and a whole lot of shit ensues. Won't tell you what though, because spoilers if you haven't read it. But yeah, third book in the series, and I'm enjoying this series more than I thought I would, which is great considering I'm gonna need to read the last one in the trilogy. At this point, you're probably thinking, Jade, you're never gonna read all this in a month, and you would be damn right. I'm not, but I'm gonna keep going. Next is the Apothecary Towers, where the wizards dwell, tricksters. They've blindfolded you and randomised all your books. Choose a book at random from your bookshelf. Now, I used a random number generator for this, and randomised my bookshelf, and the book that I am gonna read for Apothecary Towers, if I get there, is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I don't know anything about this anymore. At one point I wanted to read it, that was a while ago. I now can't remember anything. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like a YA Game of Thrones style thing. High fantasy, high stakes, lots of kingdoms at war sort of thing, but I really don't know too much more than that. I know it had a period of being really popular, so we will see if I get to this what I think of it, but I really cannot remember much about it at all. Following on from there, we have The Great Library, The Great Archives. Find and read a book that has been on your TBR forever. This book has been on my TBR forever. It is awful how long I've owned this for. This was the first Fairy Loot book I ever got, and that is Metal Town by Kristen Simmons. I cannot remember what this is about at all. I think there's a factory line and these kids want to like break out of the city or something, or an enthralling story of friendship and rebellion. Metal Town will have you believing in the power of hope. Metal Town, where factories rule, food is scarce, and hope is in short supply. So yeah, I think these kids are in like this dystopian-ish world where they're on this factory line and there's a rebellion. But yeah, this has been on my TBR since like October 25th. 2016? Too long. It's been on my TBR for too long. Then we have The Drowning Deep. The whirlpool is so mesmerising. Read a book with rich world building that will suck you into its own world instead. And for this, I'm gonna try and read Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This has got so much hype around it and the world. This is set in a utopian world where they've conquered death and no one can die of any natural causes or accidents or illnesses. The only way you can die is if a scythe gleans you. This one follows 2 apprentice scythes, and I don't know too much more than that. I think it gets pretty like dark in places, but people seem to really like this, so we will see what I think of it if I get to it. It would be great if I could, wouldn't it? This TBR is really long. We're nearly there, I think. Next, the Elven Guard are surprised by your visit and are immediately on the offensive. Read a book with war, military, or political themes to learn how to help calm the situation. And for this, I'm going to go with Monstrous Volume 2. I read Volume 1 of this so long ago, but I'm pretty sure there is a war and some military and some politics in this. Most things have some sort of like war, rebellion, political intrigue, etc. But I needed to get another graphic novel in there. It's been a long time since I read the first one, but the art style of this is beautiful, beautiful. So I'm looking forward to getting to the second one, if I can make it to this point. Then we have On Hallo Isle lurk incorporeal monsters and the ghosts of your past. Read an atmospheric or horror book to pass the test of nerve. Now, I've already said I don't like horror. However, I'm gonna try and get to The Devouring Grey. This, on the back, says fans of The Raven Boys and Stranger Things rejoice. This is your new obsession. That is a blurb from Claire Legrand. And I love The Raven Boys for the like atmospheric vibe. So I'm hoping it has some sort of like similar atmosphere. I'm not too sure about that though. And I didn't read the blurb too much, but something about dead bodies. Bodies start to appear in the woods and the locals become downright hostile. I don't know what I'm going to make of this. I don't know if it'll be too much for me, because dead bodies. But we will find out. From what I've heard, this is about a mist that is like coming to the land, and the founding families have some sort of protection against that, and I'm not sure. But yeah, I hope it's going to be very atmospheric, and I like atmospheric reads. Even if they are slightly darker atmospheres, I like being sucked into an atmosphere. So we'll see what I make of this when I get to it. Then we have The Empty Barrel Inn. Everyone deserves a swig or two. Some say it even aids warming up those vocal cords. Enjoy an indulgent read. And for this, I'm gonna try and get to Lumberjanes Volume 11. I think I need something quick and fun and a bit non-committal in amongst this intense TBR, so I'm gonna throw in Lumberjanes. This is about a Girl Scout camp where everything's a bit wild. There are mythical and magical creatures and gods and dragons and dinosaurs and honestly all sorts of things that should not exist, and I am up to volume 11 of this now. I'm reading them as they come out. I don't know when volume 11 was released, relatively recently. So yeah, I need to get to that, and this seems like a good opportunity for an indulgent read. And then finally we go to visit the giant squid, a fearsome fellow. Read a book that intimidates you and this foe shall be a doddle. So we're ending with the biggest book on this TBR, and one that does intimidate me, and that is another Schwab. It's Vengeful by Victoria Schwab. This is a brick, but I'm really excited to read this and intimidated by this, nervous, slightly scared. I love Schwab. She can do no wrong by me. This really messes with the white balance. I'm so sorry. Schwab can do no wrong by me. However, I've seen some mixed reviews on this one from people whose opinion I usually trust. I'm not sure how I'm gonna go with it. I think I'm gonna like it because I love Schwab's writing. This is the sequel to Vicious, which is the first book in the Villains series, if it's going to be a series, who knows, which follows Victor and Eli, who are university students who do a thesis in how to get extraordinary powers, and they experiment with that, which includes nearly killing themselves. And they succeed, and they get extraordinary powers, and then the book goes from there. It's a great story of like who is good and who is evil. It's the sort of grey morality that Victoria Schwab does so well in like with the Savage Song and our Dark Duet as well. Monsters and humans, and what makes someone a monster and what makes them not a monster, what is good, what is evil, is there a defined line, is it a blur? And that's what the Villains series does as well, except with these super powered people or extraordinary beings. So yeah, I'm excited to read this, see where this series goes, but I am very intimidated by it. Although now looking at all of the books piled up, I'm intimidated by the whole thing. It's gonna fall over. So that's 17 things to read in the month of July. I am absolutely not going to achieve that. I'm under no illusion that I think I will. I just want to set the full TBR because I think I can achieve the Mage path pretty okay. I'm confident with that, so I want to have the options to explore the realm afterwards. So I've set out that TBR so that I can explore at my leisure. And I needed to set a TBR because I'm moving house, so I need to pack up the rest of my books, so I needed to know which ones to like keep out. So that's why I've set a full set TBR for everything. Yay. But yeah, that is that. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble about what books I'm going to be reading for far too long, because this TBR was far too long. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. I hope I haven't bored you to tears. But yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go now because I've been talking for far too long. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give us a thumbs up, chat to me down below. If you are participating in the Book Junkie trials, good luck to you, unless you're not on the Magi team, in which case, tough luck. But to all you fellow mages, we are the winning team. Don't let us down, will you? Even though I'm probably going to be one of the ones to do that. I'll try my frickin' best, alright? Okay, right. I'm gonna go and cry over my enormous TBR. Awesome. See you later. Bye.